For our next functional group, we're going to look at an ester. Esters are very similar to ethers, except they've got a ketone right next to where the ether goes. This gives them slightly different properties. If you can think about it this way, these oxygens right next to each other will make this area of the molecule quite polar. Esters will be named according to 1, this being your primary chain, 2, this being a side chain. We'll know that just by the name. So we're always going to number these 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll always start at the ester, and we'll treat this 1, 2, 3 as a side chain. We're going to name this using that 3, so that'll be propyl. We'll name it just like a side chain. It'll kind of have the lowest running side chain. If anything's clicked into that, we'll add it over there. So propyl, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. This will be bute. And then the way we identify that it's an ester is O8. So propyl butanoate. That means I've got a propyl group sticking off of the oxygen where my butanoate terminates. Okay, let's take a look at the priority on an ester before we continue on naming them. The priority of the ester is number 2, second only to the carboxylic acid. The suffix we already saw was O8. The drawing, we'll draw it like this. Oxygen here, and oxygen here. Ooh, not quite. Sorry about that. More like that. Okay, and then the prefix that'll be used in the case that we are working with a carboxylic acid and an ester at the same time, that prefix would be, it's a long one, so we won't see this very often. This will be alkoxycarbonyl. That is a mouthful. The carbon on the ester, let's just drop that down. Let's just do this. There we go. The carbon on the ester will be my number 1, regardless of the side. 1, 2. So then all this over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's all going to be a side chain. 8 is oct, so this will be octyl. And then I've got a 1, 2, so that's eth and O8. So that's our name for this one. Regardless of how long this is or how complex it might be, as long as it doesn't have a carboxylic acid, this will still be my number 1. Okay? So let's look at another example where we have a side functional group, and how is that going to go into our name? Well, let's number our carbons here. This has to be 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so that's going to be a butanoate again. And then I've got a 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 wins. So then that right there will be a pentyl. And then this right here is a side chain of 2 carbons. So that'll be ethyl with a alcohol group at the end of it. So ethyl hydroxy. And this occurs on the 2 carbon in that pentyl group. So, in order to keep from saying that this is on the 2 carbon on the butanoate, I need to put this in parentheses saying that it's on the pentyl. I'm going to put that in as 2 ethyl hydroxy pentyl butanoate. There's our name. So that still goes on to this one.